Making sacrifices when you're dieting is obviously a given, but there's no worse feeling than choosing between progressing your physique or enjoying things that life has to offer. But fear not, because in this video, I'm gonna give you my 3-step process that I follow whenever I've got something lined up in the calendar that has the ability to impact my progress a little bit. For example, this weekend, I've got a country festival where I'll be drinking some day beers because it's 26 degrees in the UK and that does never ever happen. And I'm also going to Wembley on Monday, where we might go to League One. So my name is Connor and I have been in the fitness world for close to 10 years now, and I've helped hundreds of people navigate the minefield that is the fitness world, making it less overwhelming, making it more digestible so that they not only get in great shape, but they also stay in great shape. And I've made it my mission to try and help as many people as possible do the same through these videos. And if you want to save some time and just make a start right now, I've got a link down below where you can get 4 weeks of free coaching, all set up for you, all mapped out, free of charge. And that's linked in the bio down below. Now I want to start this off by setting some realistic expectations. Now, balance in fitness is something that gets thrown around all the time where people think, oh, I want to chase balance. I want to make sure that I can still live a little bit of the good life whilst also making progress. And you can, but I firmly believe, and I want to start this off by saying that if you want to get in great shape, balance isn't something that comes initially. You want to look at it like this, where you have a goal to reach. You might want to look a certain way, hit a certain body weight, whatever. The balance is something that comes when that goal has been hit in the first place. Most people never hit that goal because they want balance to come from day one, the very beginning. You've got to go through that period initially where balance doesn't really exist. Yes, you can do these things. You can still go out and you can still have a night out, enjoy a meal out or whatever. There's ways that you've got to go about it, but it can't happen all the time. You can't go out every single weekend and expect to make the progress that you want to make. It just won't happen. So that period of balance is something that you should strive for and not have immediately off the bat. So now that's out of the way. I don't want to give you false promises by saying, oh, if you do this, you can go out every single weekend and make great progress. It will help, but you're not going to get where you want to get. First thing that you want to do is something called calorie banking. You may or may not have heard of this. Dead simple process. Right now, me personally, I'm aiming for about 2,000 calories per day. I'm in the middle of like a little mini tidy up phase that I can then maintain through summer. Right now, my target is 2,000 per day, and I have 2 high days of around 2,400. So those 2 high days I use kind of whenever I want. Typically, it's better used at the weekend. I will tend to use my 2 high days, Saturday, Sunday, and then the rest of my days will be throughout the week. So that effectively means that if we zoom out and look at my calories as a weekly total rather than day by day, I have 14,800 calories to play with across the course of the week. So the way calorie banking works is that you manipulate your calorie setup to allow to still have that overall calorie number at the end of the week, but the way you have it day by day will differ. So what I'm doing this week, I'm keeping Saturday, Sunday as my 2 higher days. So they're still 2,400 on paper. But what I'm actually doing is I'm shaving off an additional 200 calories from every single day leading up to then. So Monday through to Friday this week, I'm only having 1,800 calories. Because when I do that for 5 days in a row, that shaves off those numbers from those days and allows me an extra 1,000, so 200 off each day for 5 days straight, 1,000 calories that I can now tag on to those 2 higher days already. So the 2,400 will be enough for me on the Sunday. I'll explain later why, but I'm not going to be going on some hangover crazy binge or whatever, and I'll touch on that in a bit. So I want to have those extra 1,000 on the Saturday, the day where I'm out and I'm drinking and I'm enjoying the festival. That then gives me the ability to have 3,400 calories on that one day and still stay within my targets for the week. So I'm not over consuming or overspilling, but I've made a shit ton more room on that Saturday to allow me to enjoy that day even more without the fear and the feeling, oh my God, I'm so close to my calories. I've got a lot, 3,400, that's a lot to play with. And I can make that work. So that is the first port of call. You've got to make a little bit of room to do those things. The rule with calorie banking is that when you borrow calories from other days, never borrow protein. So my protein will remain the same all the way through. And that is one thing that doesn't budge. Second rule as well is that do not go too aggressive in that banking window. Every individual's got a different threshold. So there's no way of me saying, oh yeah, only ever borrow this many. You might be able to borrow 500 per day and know that you've not gone too far to the point in which you're setting yourself up for a serious binge because you've been deprived all week. For me, 200 calories per day, nothing. I barely even feel it. So I know when Saturday rolls around, I'm not going to be this ravenous demon who's like, oh my God, give me all the food now, and just overspill anyway, even though I banked more and I've saved this room, overdo it because I've gone too hard. So try and find that little balancing ground for yourself. Phase or step number 2 is the day of the event. So I've spent all week banking calories. I've made myself some room now. What do I do on the day of the event to keep myself in check? I'll be honest, not a great deal. Enjoy it. For me, and the reason this is why I say where you can't have balance, you can't do this every single weekend. For me, I don't remember the last time I went out. I've had a couple of beers here and there, but I don't remember the last time I had a festival or a proper event booked in. So for me, I am enjoying the day. I will train in the morning. That's something that I'll do because not even necessarily from like a physical benefit, but mentally, I know that if I go for a run or I get a workout in Saturday morning, I feel good. I feel like I've earned the right now to go and enjoy myself. And that is just something that I prefer to do. Again, it's not like a scientific step. It's just personal preference there. Sets me up nicely for my day. In the morning, I will have a high protein, moderate fat, low carb breakfast. So I will have probably bacon and eggs, something simple. Purely because I want to save as many of my calories for the day, and I don't want to have a massive 1,000-calorie breakfast and use that massive chunk of allowance for the day on one meal. Bacon and eggs will fill me up nicely, sets me up. And then we're starting early. We're starting drinking at about midday-ish. So from there on out, I will be enjoying myself. I'll probably have a couple of Guinness and I'll have a couple of drinks that I really want, enjoy. But then I'll make the effort to switch to the lower calorie shorts, the vodka, the sugar-free mixers, and I'll steer away from the Guinness, the heavy stuff after a few. But I'm definitely going to have a few. I'm not depriving myself of that because, again, I don't do this very often. I don't chase balance all the time, but when I go out, I want to enjoy it. So on the day, that is essentially all I would do. I would save the majority of my calories. If you were doing this later at night time, for me, I'm starting early, so it's a bit different. But if you were doing this at night time, I would still eat and still give yourself normal meals, but I would try and pull back on the carbs and pull back a little bit on the fats and just try and keep it protein heavy so you're keeping yourself nice and full. You're still getting your protein in, but you're still saving a chunk of your calories for what's to come. And then the final thing, step number 3, is the day after. I'm a big believer that the odd night out and the odd event doesn't impact progress whatsoever. It only becomes a problem when you let it spill into multiple days. So when Saturday night or Saturday day drinking becomes a Sunday sat on the sofa slouching about and binging and eating shit and getting takeaways, which then turns into Monday, you've not prepped your food because you've had such a lazy day on Sunday. So Monday you go to the shop and you get quick and convenient. And before you know it, one day, one event turned into 3 to 4 days of trying to get back to normality. I believe that is where the problem lies. The problem lies when you let it become more than what it actually is. So all I'm doing to prepare myself for the following day, because I am dreadful when it comes to hangovers. I do not deal well with hangovers. This is the reason why I don't drink anymore, because a hangover for me isn't just like a 24-hour process. I will feel like shit for probably until Wednesday. I'm okay with that because I don't do often. But I've got to put certain things in place to make sure that I don't end up doing what I've just said and spilling over and becoming this mess for like 4 days. So I will make sure, first of all, we've added some sausages to our food shop, which, let me explain. We enjoy like a fry up or whatever. When you're a bit hungover and you're a bit tired and you just feel a bit, we love, like anybody else, getting some greasy food. But I don't want to do that. So what we've done, we always do like a homemade fry up. So we buy some like spaghetti hoops or beans. We get some of like the reduced fat sausages. We have bacon and eggs, reduced fat bacon and eggs, and we make our own version. So I'm getting that little hit, that little injection of what feels like the badness, but in a good way kind of thing. Obviously, it's difficult to wake up and cook food. That's why people get breakfast delivered or whatever. You've got no excuse now. If you've got an air fryer, you've got no excuse. You wake up, you just chuck it all in the air fryer, you put it on, you go back to the sofa, you sit there and you just lounge about until it's done. So it's dead easy. So we're doing that. And I also like to prep meals ready for the day. So I will probably on Friday or Saturday, probably Friday because Saturday starts early, I will prep my normal meals that I have in the week. I will make another portion to make sure that I've got something in the fridge. So on the day, I do not turn to quick, convenient takeaway, just eat. I've already got my food in the fridge. Do I want to eat it over a McDonald's? Probably not at the time, but I will feel better for doing so. So I'm always trying to stay a step ahead to make my life loads easier. I won't train. I'll get all my sessions done beforehand so I don't feel guilty thinking, oh my God, I've got to go to the gym on Sunday and burn it off. I'll get all my workouts boxed off so I can do so guilt-free. It's a planned rest day almost. And then from there, we're pretty much right back to normal. It's different for me this coming week. So obviously on Monday, I've got Wembley. So I'm not going to be going heavy or crazy. I'll be at work Tuesday, but I'll have a couple of beers, but all that will be factored into my normal allowance anyway. So that's pretty much all you've got to do. Now, the reason you've got to nail this process, you've got to master it, is because if you do want to be able to enjoy some of the normal things in life when you're dieting, like I say, you can't do it all the time, but when you do it, you want to make sure you've got a bit of a process in place to follow to allow yourself to enjoy it whilst not pulling you a million miles away from the progress that you're trying to make. If you can master this approach and use it in the correct way when the time is right, no impact whatsoever, none. So 3 steps. I hope that was helpful. If you found this video useful, please do like, subscribe, comment, share. Follow me on Instagram if you want. The link to that is in the bio as well. And like I said before, if you do want to get started but you don't know where to begin, I've got the first 4 weeks for you covered, free of charge. That is also linked in the bio. Sign up for that. That will lay out everything you need to know for the first month. Thank you very much for watching. If you made it this far, you are the best. And I will speak to you soon.